Rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and across the world. This is Global Television. I am Uyi Agbomofuebe, live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, bringing you live broadcasts of the Global Morning, where we get to talk about issues around our country and even beyond. It's first business day of the week, or first work day of the week, as many people would call it. It's Monday, the 6th day in the month of November, and it's just a matter of weeks, maybe just 7 and a few days before the end gradually comes here. I mean, the end of the year 2023, not the end of age. Okay, so it's a delight to be here, and again, thank you for joining us. It's been an eventful week, even into the weekend, no doubt about that. Government has again made it eventful for us with regards to the developments now coming from the government and all of the evolution we've seen and the latest updates regarding the gubernatorial elections that have been scheduled for Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa State. We'll see campaign very intensive. We'll see campaign aspects of it that focus on the issues and how the people's lives could be better. We've also seen very nasty aspects of it. I mean, several elements that are not palatable or pleasant. But then again, they say it is where we are as a country right now with regards to our political and democratic evolution. But then it calls to question the way we have played politics since 1999 and the need to quickly change that for the better. I mean, until politicians understand very practically and as quickly as possible how that the elections we talk about every year, every 4 years in this country, or I mean, including off-cycle elections, must be issues-driven, which means that there must be elections, there must be campaigns with conversations around the welfare of the people, whether it's their health, whether it's their businesses, whether it's infrastructure, the system of education, and overall well-being. I mean, conversations with regards to campaign and ultimately about elections must be able to help significantly improve the HDI of Nigerians, that is the Human Development Index, which means every other 4-year cycle when we get to have elections, the general elections, that is, Nigerians must be able to see that in the last 4 years, their lives have improved on several fronts very appreciably. But we also want to talk about the culture, the very unpleasant culture we have now found between outgoing governor or outgone governors and their successors, with very strong spotlight on the development coming out of Port Harcourt, River State right now. Just about a week ago, news broke about fire incident at the State House of Assembly in Port Harcourt, River State capital. And it has been one form of mudslinging after another between the incumbent governor, Fubara, and his predecessor and, if you like, benefactor, Awike, who is now Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. We also want to look at the papers for you, just so we can bring you big headlines on Monday, very promising Mondays such as this. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you our national dailies. Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Let's begin with today's issue of Blueprint newspaper for you, where we start with a big headline right on the front page of it. It says, compressed natural gas initiative, Nigeria to convert 55,000 vehicles at discounted rate. What is that rate exactly originally? And then, of course, what is the discount element in it? Yesterday, I got talking with a colleague who said, from what he had gathered, it would cost about 400,000 for you to do this conversion. That's the service charge. We're yet to independently verify that as a media outfit, but we would find out for you as quickly as possible, and then get to also understand the other dynamics around the process. But what the federal government wants to do with this is very clear. It is first to cut down as reasonably as possible the dependence on fuel as we know it for vehicles on Nigerian roads. We understand the first phase target is 1 million vehicles. So now we're hearing that the federal government wants to convert 55,000 of these vehicles at a discounted rate. So apart from cutting down on reliance or dependence of vehicles on fuel, it is also believed that by the time this conversion process begins and Nigerian motorists starts enjoying the initiative, it will also cut down on the cost of buying fuel. So apart from reducing reliance on fuel, for those who are going to move away from fuel and come to CNG, that's the compressed natural gas, it will help them reduce cost of powering their vehicles. All right. The second thing, or the third thing I should say, is it will cut down very drastically the environmental impacts of fuel-powered vehicles, because of course we keep talking about going green, we keep talking about cutting carbon, but we can't do that. We can look after the environment, we can't take care of the environment until we take very practical steps, which we're sure the governments in Nigeria under the leadership of President Tinubu is pursuing with this CNG initiative. We understand, for example, that the Kaduna CNG Center has been officially inaugurated by the chairman of that steering committee, who primarily is the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, talking about Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji. We hope that we keep the momentum. We continue to pursue this initiative to a logical conclusion so that motorists across this country, top to bottom, end to end, will also be able to enjoy this service so that Nigeria will gradually head towards industrialization. Because, I mean, imagine a country like Britain is now saying that by 2040, we would have cut down by more than 90% by 2040, the number of vehicles that use fuel on roads across Britain. It's very ambitious to say that. I mean, that whole target is extremely ambitious, but it is doable. You need the manpower, you need the political will, you need the resources, you need the technical know-how. Then you need that visionary leadership to also do that. And we hope Nigeria finds all of these very critically fundamental factors to drive this kind of ambition. But this story has a couple of riders just underneath it. It says gas deposit can power industries transport for 97 years. That's what the government is saying. Then it mouths 1,000 CNG conversion centers nationwide, targets 10,000 jobs. So another advantage that comes with this package is the potential to create 10,000 jobs. Plus, 1,000 CNG conversion centers nationwide are also being projected. So in the final analysis, it means that jobs will not only be created in addition to those advantages I talked about a while ago. Nigeria will also be able to create 1,000 CNG conversion hubs or centers across the country for ease of access to that service. All right. NACON meets Saudi service provider, seeks enhanced service delivery. NDLEA seizes 3.2 kg, 14.4 billion naira Saudi bound cocaine, opioid pills. Naira rallies across markets, trades below 900 naira to the dollar. That's some good news. Somebody was joking on Facebook because of this last weekend, saying, look, every time the dollar shoots up, people are agitated. People are complaining about government not doing this and that. People are faulting the monetary policies of the CBN, the fiscal policies of the CBN, and all the other policies and initiatives that the central bank is embarking on. But by the time the Naira begins to get strengthened against the greenback, you hear next to nothing about that development. I mean, if for a fact dollar is now exchanging for less than 900 Naira, let's even say for the purpose of this conversation, as of today, the dollar is now exchanging for 899 Naira, which is, again, still less than 900. It's appreciable. It's a milestone, especially when you look at what the Naira has been like in the last 2-3 weeks against the US dollar. At the point, it was between 1,297 Naira to 1,350 Naira to the dollar at the autonomous market, that is the so-called black market. But today, it's getting strengthened, getting better. And then, of course, for those who probably hoarded the dollar, $1,000, $10,000, $1 million, whatever it is, I think that backlash that the CBN had talked about, that even analysts had projected, is happening and is going to bite real hard, because the gains that the Naira is recording is happening real fast, and we hope that continues, because don't forget that just about, barely 9 years ago, the dollar was doing less than 200, at the point as low as 186. That was the Naira at 186 to the dollar. But today, see where we are. We're even celebrating that it's less than 900 today. But let's see what it will look like by the time market closes today. That will be 3-4 p.m. Nigerian time. We'll keep you posted on that development. In the meantime, court upholds Niger monarch sack, orders payment of salary arrears. You can read up that story on today's Blueprint newspaper. Page 8 is where you'll find details. All right. Forex, Dangote Pan-African operations fetch Nigeria $687,997,000. All right. That's a lot of money there. Okay. Well over half $1 billion, which Dangote Pan-African operations are fetching Nigeria right now. Nigeria needs all the hard currency or the dollar it can get right now. But again, there's the elephant in the room. Whatever we're doing now may just be some sort of what economists would call stop-gap measure, all right? They are temporary. They are more like palliatives. They are just intervention. Maybe that's a much better word. However, what do we do for the medium and long terms to ensure that the Naira continues to be prestigious in such a way that the Naira is strengthened? Because as it stands today, our economy is dollarized. There are consultants within the private sector in this country today who charge for their services in dollar. Why would that happen if not for the fact that the Naira has pathetically been so weakened? In 2016, former President Muhammadu Buhari talked about how that when he was head of state in 1983 to 1985, the Naira was so strong against the dollar that the number of BDCs you had in this country could almost be counted on your fingertips. But today, that's not the case. In fact, I'm not even sure the Bureau de Change operators in this country have a definite figure as to how many BDC operators we have. I'm talking about those who are even registered. Let's not talk about those who speculate across this country. One time, AbokiFX.com was banned by the former governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele. But we understand that the leadership after him, of course, under former acting governor, Shonubi, had lifted that ban. But people have said, look, you're flogging a dead horse. In fact, Aboki FX is not responsible for the fortunes or the misfortunes of the Naira. You've got to look where it hurts. People would speculate naturally. Aboki FX has come out and say, look, we are not currency speculators. What we do is we aggregate the exchange rates across the country. For example, on a typical day like this is Monday, it's not a public holiday in Nigeria, it's a work day, it's a business day. You are likely to have one rate in Abuja at Wuse Zone 4, for example, compared to the rate you have somewhere around the Ikeja or somewhere on the mainland in Lagos. You are likely to have a different rate somewhere in Kano and than you have somewhere in Ibadan. You are likely to have different rates from maybe Enugu than you have somewhere in maybe Port Harcourt. So these dynamics are there. So Aboki FX is saying what we do is we aggregate these rates and we put them up on our website for Nigerians to make informed decisions about how they want to spend their dollar, how they want to sell their dollar, how they want to buy dollar, how they want to maybe use their debit and credit cards to shop online, travel abroad, and do whatever it is they want to do. But then it means that the leadership of the CBN, now headed by Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, has a lot of work to do to clean up that mess that President Tinubu had talked about on May 29th when he says fiscal and monetary policies need house cleaning. Let the cleaning begin, but then I want to take a look at one more headline for you, maybe two headlines from the front page of today's Blueprint newspaper. All right, Bayelsa Imo Kogi polls IGP orders release of 220 operational vehicles. Yakubu charges INEC staff on integrity. NAF airstrikes hits terrorist kickpins, hideouts, eliminates scores. That's some win for Nigeria. And the armed forces, congratulations to boots on the ground, men and women in uniform for the work they continue to do around the clock on behalf of this country, securing our territorial integrity and fighting enemies within. Let's flip to our next paper this morning. That happens to be the Punch newspaper. We begin with stories above the nameplates of the Punch newspaper for you. It says one here with a picture of the group chief executive officer of NNPCL, Melekari. Niger Benue Kano marketers hike fuel, blame transport costs. Cooking gas scarcity hits Lagos, Katsina, others. Collecting pension unlawful, Falana tells Akpabio, others. I mean, this cry has been for a while, but I'm not sure most of these former governors are listening, because one of the things they had been able to do successfully at the twilight of their administrations across their respective states was to ensure that the law was put in place as quickly as possible. I mean, you needed to see the speed at which those laws, those bills were passed and those laws made by the respective states' houses of assembly, whether it's Edo, Lagos, Akwa Ibom, Cross River. I mean, it's just one state after another. And you know how it works with Nigerian governors. So 1 minute they are governors, the next they are leaving office, and as somebody said, they will go retire at the Senate. And then while they are at the Senate, receiving their basic salaries and all of the allowances, states, in most cases, a couple of cars every 3-4 years, a house in their state, a house in Abuja, between 4 and 6 aides attached to them while out of office. And for most of these states, when you go back there and you're wondering what legacies did these governors actually leave behind? How did they meet the state? How did they meet the people? In what state upon exits from office? Well, I think that's a conversation we need to keep having as we make progress as a country and even as sub-nationals. Off-season governorship polls, 220 police patrol vehicles deployed in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa. IG to complete deployment Friday to redeploy Imo CP before polls. Egbetokun bars VIP escorts, orders personnel to curb vote buying violence. We hope that happens. We really do hope that happens. But when you go to page 45 of the Punch newspaper today, a headline there reads, Commanders, others killed as military bombers terrorists. Details of 70 recovered corpses with police, Abia. What's more, let's take a look at the foots of today's Punch newspaper. All right. It says, Lautech students sue Makinde for relocating Agric faculty. Trafficker excretes 86 heroin wraps, NDLEA seizes 14.4 million opioids. We hear this seizure is worth about 13 billion. And like we understand, that is some sort of conservative figure by the authorities. But it is not so much about the monetary value. It is about the volume of it. And you're wondering what exactly could happen if this volume of opioids, right, is dispersed, or as they say, distributed, and then people get to consume this, and you see what impact that has on society in the final analysis. All right, but then let's see one other headline for you on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. It reads, Israel gives condition for ceasefire, deaths hits 11,000. That's all we're bringing to you from the Punch newspaper this morning. We have the Tribune also waiting for us. Okay, big story on the front page of the Tribune this morning says Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa elections. IGP orders redeployment of Imo CP. Remember, that's one of the conditions that Labour has given to avert strike. So let's believe one of those conditions has been met, right? Begins distribution of new vehicles, security personnel. Details await you on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. CBN remains focused on price stability. Cardoso, that's the CBN governor, they're talking. Why Naira regains strength at FX markets, APCON. What's more, Augusto and Augusto assigns A rating to Odwa Investment Company with a stable outlook. Forex, Dangote repatriates $687.9 million from Pan-African operations. We brought you that headline just a while ago. FG to raise VAT revenue from 35 trillion naira in 2023 to 45 trillion naira by 2026. So that's a 10 trillion naira projection, upward projection within the 3-year period. That's a tall order, but then it's doable. Again, like we said, willpower, visionary leadership, dedication, sincerity of purpose. All right, but on page 7, there's another headline there that reads, Fitch concerned over Nigeria's $10 billion forex loan affirms Nigeria's credit rating. All right, we'll go down to the bottom left end of the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Sanwo-Olu commissions Red Line Oyingbo overpass. FG reopens Ibadan airports. NAF airstrikes hit terrorist hideouts in northeast, northwest. Okay, let's go take a look at Daily Trust for you before we go on a little break now. Daily Trust newspaper is our next port of call before we go on a break. Says devaluation pushes Nigeria's debt to 89.2 trillion naira. So should we regret devaluing the naira? Well, there's a whole lot of room for reassessment of that decision in the first instance. As debt stock raised by 20.6 trillion naira in 5 months, what government should do? Experts, each Nigerian owing 418,779 naira. So if there's anything to go by, it means if we were to split this 89.2 trillion naira debt stock that Nigeria is owing, it means myself and each of my colleagues will pay 418,779 naira per person. That's what it means. But I'm afraid well over half of Nigerians today in this country, I'm sure, don't have this money. So we will have to maybe sit down, step back a little and rethink how we borrow and rethink how we ultimately invest our borrowing. We've seen in this country how monies are borrowed from multilateral institutions, from IMF to World Bank and even internally. And then we use these monies to pay salaries. Is that a smart move, economically speaking? Well, the government knows better. So let's tell ourselves the truth. Let's be altruistic about the actions and the decisions, all right, that we make on behalf of this country, because posterity will judge us by not just the sincerity or otherwise that we bring, but the impact those decisions, whether adverse or positive, will have on our people. We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we come back, we have 3 more papers to look at for you, but more importantly, we'll put our discussion on the road. Let's also be sure the one chance phenomenon, we are told in Abuja, even though the authorities, that is the law enforcement agencies, are doing their job, has not abated per se. It will appear there's a review of tactics and modes of operation by these criminal elements. We have a special report on that. We'll play it for you. But again, we'll come talk a little about crime rates, and then we'll forge ahead with the program this morning. Do stay with us. Please help me tell how to look for. I want to. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does
Call the police station before they even leave. They'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASI
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
the legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station before they even leave. They'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASI
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring.
We have several more stories.
the legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria.
Let's return to the papers, everyone. We'll talk about crime in a minute, but let's look at more papers for you this morning. Now we're looking at the Nation newspaper, which has several headlines as well. Okay. First, we'll begin with the one that has, let's see here. It talks about the NLC Imo government clash over attack on Ajero's village. Naira firm up will continue, APCON predicts. That's Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria. Dangote, let's see, repatriated $687 million from African operations. All right, then let's see the big story on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. Why central bank must bring down inflation by Sanusi, give agric priority. Cardoso, we are changing Apex Bank's policy direction. President heads for Saudi with investment options. We brought you that story yesterday. 19 years after final severance benefits for airways workers. Okay, so basically that's those are stories from the Nation newspaper. But then let's also look at the Guardian. The Guardian, the corruption defiance to laws cost investors 1 trillion naira in property loss. Okay, what's more? And then on page 3, refineries, I'll hold NNPCL accountable for completion dates, says Lokbobiri. Serap sues Tinubu over alleged missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil funds. All right, then you come down to the right end of the front page of today's Guardian newspaper. Adelabu crash landing in Ibadan airport raises fresh concern on illegal charter operators. Atiku may be expelled from PDP, says former vice president's aide. IGP affirms readiness for weekends off-cycle Guba polls. I mean, this Saturday is a big day for those states where these polls are happening, Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa states. Coalition laments Akeredolu's absence, impeachment crisis in Ondo. All right, so one more paper before we're done. That's what we'll get to follow the morning for you. It's Business Day newspaper. All right, when you look at the top of it, it says, let's see, it says manufacturers in 166 billion naira loss as borrowing costs surge 7-fold. That's alarming, very alarming. Naira rally below 1,000 naira lures investors. Naira rally below 1,000 naira. That's 1,000 to the dollar lures investors. Okay, let's keep getting better with our naira. so we can lure more investors? Or do our investment get a rating with Stanbic stable outlook from Augusto? Lekki Ports innovating Nigeria's approach to trade for modern future. Okay, then when you turn to the left end, bottom left end of today's business day, it says Fitch leaves Nigeria's rating unchanged 1 year after downgrade. You can read details for yourself on page 31 of today's business day newspaper. Okay, well, for taking our time here to talk about crime rates and the dynamics around it, particularly within Abuja, Nigeria's capital and, of course, seat of power. But today we still hear of pockets of these nasty incidents across this country and, in particular, this city, Abuja. We did our findings and realized that on the one hand, the authorities, whether the police and sister agencies and so on and so forth, are doing their bit just to ensure that this monster is nipped in the bud. However, from all indications, it's very clear that this set of criminals is also doing their part to continue to, if you like, be evasive, continue to operate in some sort of stealth mode. They continue to also review and tweak their own approach to how they commit. Our partner correspondent, Danjuma Abnai, not too long ago, put together a very incisive and eye-opening report on this set of criminals.
An apparently peaceful traffic situation can turn into a nightmarish experience with the activities of the popular but ignoble criminals called One Chance. They are violent criminals who disguise as either commercial drivers or as passengers. The trick is to shout, one chance, giving the impression that the vehicle needs only one passenger to move. But jump in and you jump into a pile of miseries. Kabiru Adamu is a security consultant and confirms that this pattern of crime has taken an alarming dimension.
It is a common occurrence in most city centers. In Abuja, as an example, it's very difficult for you to go to any space where there are a couple of persons ranging from 3 up until 10 that you will not find at least 1 to 2 to 3 persons that have not been victims of One Chance, as long as the persons are using commercial vehicles.
So I entered the cab, hailing Papi.
Chidinma is a young mother. She had a terrible and pathetic experience in the hands of the criminals. Chidinma was dropped by her sister right about here at around 8 o'clock in the evening. A Mazda car driven by a man and one other passenger at the back pulled over and hastily picked her. Destination, Mbappe. But the journey was doomed because a set of horrible things started happening at the inception of the trip.
Immediately I entered. The passenger by my left, was behaving as if he was collecting his balance from the driver. So I felt comfortable. I guess they did that so that I wouldn't have to notice what was going on. He collected that balance. The next thing he did was to stretch his hands towards my side, and here was by my right. So as I tried to open the door by my right, they were shouting, you better cooperate. You know, go cooperate, but you won't die. You won't die this night. She said, go feel come out from this car. This is the come out. You know, go feel come out from this car. They were beating me. The first person that hit me was the man in front. So he punched me with, mainly he punched me. That was when then he was, they now told me, lie down. Okay, lie down. No, go lie down, ba. So I was struggling. They've collected my stuffs. They've collected my bags at that time. I didn't have my bag with me. So they were telling me, no, go lie down, ba. So I thought they wanted to rape me as they were telling me to lie down on the floor of the car. So as I tried to lie down on that floor, the one by my side too now slapped me, and he tried to strangle me too. That was where this marks came out from. So he was struggling me and was telling me, no, you go die this night. Maybe you don't want to cooperate. You go die this night. You go die this night.
Chidinma was lucky to escape alive because she did not fit the correct profile of the perfect victim the criminals were searching for their sinister intentions.
By the time they were done beating me, it wasn't like that, madam, you know what you go do now? You go cut your breast. I said, okay, sir. He now said, do you have kids? I said, yes, I have kids. He just kept quiet. The next thing I saw was that he told me, okay, oh yeah, get up.
Alone in the night.
This young lady was also lucky because she survived and agreed to share her experience with us.
I've been attacked in this beggar before. I was hit from behind. My phones and everything were collected. And it took me years to be able to stand in beggar and get a car and pick up a cab.
In a daring display of impunity, most of the criminals move around with POS machines for ease of stealing money out of the bank accounts of their victims. Security experts explain that this is very possible, especially with the emergence of new financial outfits who ignore the vigorous security check on customers before opening customer accounts.
A lot of the instances that we've monitored, they actually use the financial systems. Now, the reason for this is commonplace. Number one, we do not have a national database for individuals, Nigerians actually. And more importantly, even the banking system has not put in place infrastructure to reduce the possibility of this from happening. And then secondly, where it happens, to trace the perpetrators, arrest them, and then prevent further crime.
Abuja is Nigeria's seat of government. It is also a bubbling cosmopolitan city that attracts people from every part of Nigeria and even abroad who come mostly in search of economic opportunities. But like many emerging cities facing the challenges of growth, crime has become a major issue. The June 2023 edition of Nigeria Security Report for Beacon Intel, a security consulting firm, shows an increase in crime in not just Abuja but other major Nigerian cities. The FCT Police Command says it is doing its best to fight crime in the territory in order to protect the security and welfare of citizens.
We have created a tactical squad called Anti-One Chance, which they have been charged with the responsibility of these one chance activities to wipe away, in conjunction with the DPOs as well. The DPOs are doing on the divisional level, and this squad that I mentioned, Anti-One Chance, has been deployed also to each division.
The FCT police public and other citizens in order to tackle this despicable crime called One Chance.
Sometimes these modus, they change their modus, though we've identified the modus they are using. But when they know we identify them, they also change their modus. So when if you find yourself as a victim, it's only wise and advisable that you report these incidences to the security agencies.
I was why I didn't report to them.
Our law enforcement agents that do not see this crime as a major crime. We've been in instances where we've monitored this development on behalf of our clients. We will report the cases by providing the telephone numbers that were used in the crime, the account numbers that were used in the crime. The response you get from the law enforcement is that they have bigger challenges. And this is the effort they will use in stopping this is not worth the benefit.
Victims survive and injuries are treated, but the emotional scar takes a very long time to heal.
It took me months, or if not years, to actually recover. And psychologically, everything around me now, even if I enter a cab now, I will start to be conscious of where I am because of everybody around me is a suspect.
The one that was repeatedly beating me, I didn't see the one on the front, his face, but the one at the back, I kind of saw his face. So when I see someone that looks like that person, I'll be like, are you sure it's not this man that beat me that night?
Kabiru Adamu says commuters should avoid flagging vehicles along the road. Instead, approved and designated motor parks should be used. Anjum Abdullahi.
Very special thank you to you, Danjuma Abdullahi, partner correspondent, for putting that very brilliant and informative piece together. We did that just to give you an insight into what this phenomenon is like, in particular within the FCT. But let's talk about something different, this time something that comes with so much of creativity. In this case, creative writing, the importance of it, and the need to acquire that skill regardless of your field of endeavor. I mean, we've seen people who write very brilliantly, even though their primary field is not, their primary field is not to write. They use that, they leverage that to help and to even add value to what they do. I mean, if you are good as an engineer, it's one good thing. I mean, you're great at what you do as a trained, licensed, practicing engineer. But when you add creative writing skill to that, you have no idea how much difference it makes and how it distinguishes you from the pack. In this special report, our education correspondent, Sobra Usma, has been able to do a very intelligent piece of work for us, covering this incisive piece with regards to creative writing.
Professor Williams said creative writing evokes the reader's emotions and allows readers use their imagination and creativity. He charged relevant education stakeholders to invest in creative writing as it helps explore human experience.
Creative writing is a very rich art form that has been around for a very long time, and it is an area a discipline, you could say, that many professionals look for if they want to be creative writers for journalistic purposes, for fiction writing, for any kind of non-fiction writing, if they're doing documentaries, for instance, or for script writing, for screenplays, for animation narratives as well. So creative writing involves anything related to enhancing your abilities to become a great writer in your area of interest. So if you think of someone like Wallace Soyinka, we're talking about non-fiction, a fictional writer in novels, short stories. He's also a playwright, okay? And so that's an area that we offer. Or if you're interested more in an area that has to do with a screenplay, we also offer to teach you how to write proper screenplays and make them marketable, okay? So that's pretty much what we're talking about.
Creative writing applies when you're critical, when you are actually very fluent with your words and you have a smooth combination. How you can say one is a wordsmith and putting that together in writing to proffer solution or create beautiful content. Yes.
Eunice Achu, a student of creative writing, said creative writing is a beautiful skill as it broadens the writer's reading prowess.
One major challenge that creative writers face, mental block, where you see it's a situation where you find yourself unable to put your thoughts together. You would find how to string those words as smooth as you thought you should have, and then you find yourself struggling for something that ordinarily should be a smooth process. It happens as a result of probably stress and what other thing? Yeah, stress can cause it. A mental or an emotional downtime can also cause you a mental block. So, but how to get out of it? Go do something relieving. Go have you a little leisure. You can play, you can learn something that can like relieve you of the stress that isn't expectant of you, something that wouldn't require a huge delivery from you. So do that and just play, relax your nerves, and boom, you would come back alive again and find yourself writing as smooth as ever.
She highlights some of the challenges in creative writing while suggesting the way forward.
Whenever you are done writing and you read whatever you have written, sometimes at that time you may not even feel the weight of what you've written, but going back to it, you would feel like this is my brainchild. This is something I conceived and birthed. It's a thought. Before you write, you must have. Writing is a process of garbage in, garbage out. So you read to write. So once you are able to put beautiful work together, you whenever you read it, maybe not even immediately, but every time you come back to that piece, you'd smile at the work, because you would know that this came from the much I have accumulated from books and thought patterns, and I've been able to put it out in writing, and it looks this beautiful, especially when it is achieving the purpose like informing, entertaining. Yeah.
Professor Ivan says creative writing broadens the reader's knowledge and enhances critical thinking. He therefore urged students of English to take a career path in creative writing. Sobra Usman, Global Television News, Abuja.
Thank you, Sobra, for putting that together for us here at Global Television. The conversation continues here on our TV. Remember that we're here for you 24/7 news and current affairs. I'm Uyi Agbomofuebe. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life